her golden eyes. I'm angry. I'm absolutely livid at Kenzie for what she's done. All of those people are dead because of her. She didn't just kill them, she ate them. I can't imagine how scared they were as Kenzie dragged them to her hideout. I sometimes wonder if she killed them before eating them or if she started feasting on them while they were still kicking and screaming. Most of all, I'm angry because she left me alone. Like the gazelle that befriends a lion, I had fallen in love with a demon. Kenzie gave me a note before she vacated the officer's body. It breaks my heart to leave you. However, I cannot take you with me. I will always be on the run. I will always be hunted. I do not want that life for you. I want you to live and be happy. Please forget about me, my love. Coming back home to our home without her in it was heartbreaking. I knew I couldn't stay here. I couldn't afford this place on my own. I had to sell what I could and throw away what I couldn't. I left the place I called home for years with nothing but a suitcase of clothes, some pictures, and some DVD discs. I had to move back in with my parents. I was showered with kindness and sympathy upon my return. I appreciated it, but I needed to be alone. I spent a few days in my childhood bedroom crying, not knowing what I would do next. I know Kenzie was a killer, but I couldn't help but miss her still. She was the light of my life, the sun to my moon. We shared so much, only for it all to go down like it did. I missed those evil eyes of hers. I was lost without her. I had to get her back, and I found a way to do it. On an old forgotten grave sits a mansion, moonlight bathe. Within is a spider of tricks. Complete her games, get your fix, lose. You will become hollow. Win, great fortune will follow. Respect the spider of games, or you will never be the same. I won't go into detail about how I found this poem, nor about how I went about finding the mansion detailed within. I don't want anyone else to attempt this. It's too dangerous. I first scoped out the area during the day. The forgotten grave is a hill on a lonely stretch of road. The mansion only manifests during the witching hour, and only if a specific ritual is done. Again, I will not detail the ritual here for fear of someone else attempting the game. The area looked rather nice in the daylight. I could have imagined taking Kenzie here on a picnic. I returned that night. I will say about the ritual that it requires the sacrifice of the joint of one of your fingers. Hopefully that knowledge will deter people. Different fingers will determine what the great fortune is. Since I came for love, I gave the joint of my ring finger where my wedding band still resided. My finger was throbbing as I was driving towards the spot. A certain what if kept intruding into my mind. What if the mansion wasn't there? What if I had performed the ritual wrong, or perhaps the legend was just a legend? I would have disfigured myself for nothing, and I would be back at square one. I passed some trees, and the hill was in full view. Bathed in the light of the full moon, the mansion loomed over me. It was a wooden structure standing 3 stories tall, probably built in the 1800s. I slowly drove up to the front porch, my heart pounding in my chest. The glass of every window was broken. I could see little broken shards here and there. They had been boarded up. The door stood open as if inviting me inside. In the distance, I could see a few cars. They were abandoned. Many of them were old, others quite new. I could also see the bones of a few horses scattered around. These must have been left by previous contestants who had lost the games. I stepped outside. The chill of the night air sent a shiver through me. It was my last chance to leave. I could go and never come back. However, the idea of leaving without doing what I could to get Kenzie back was more than I could take. I had to move forward. I stepped into the mansion. Everything was covered in dust and cobwebs. It was difficult to breathe. A grand staircase stood before me, covered in a moth-eaten rug that I think might have been red at one point. Doors surrounded me, shrouded in darkness. In the middle of the entrance hall, I spoke my wish. I wished for my wife to become human. If she no longer needed to kill, then we could settle down. There was no dramatic acknowledgement of my wish. I heard no voices. There was no wind or immediate danger. The door behind me didn't even shut. I looked around, not sure what I was supposed to do. I took a deep breath and started ascending the stairs. The steps creaked with every movement I made. I pulled out a low-powered flashlight. Since the windows were boarded, little moonlight came in. I shone the light around as I came to a hallway lined with doors. I assumed the game had already begun, but I didn't know what I was playing. I figured the game would make itself obvious sooner or later. I opened the first door I came to. Inside was just a standard-looking bedroom. I stepped inside. I spotted a couple moth carcasses scattered about, most stuck in webs. I remembered the line in the poem Lose, and you will become hollow. If I was not careful, I could share the same fate as these moths. I looked to the bed. I could see a dress lying there. It was a deep, dark red with pink frills and bows. It was covered in dust, same as everything else. I walked over. The dress looked like that of a child. I wondered if she had been a contestant, or if she had lived here before this place was what it is now. I shone the light around, wondering if I could get any other clues about the owner of this dress. I eventually came across a small photograph. The girl had long curly pigtails and held a small bear to her chest. She was wearing the dress currently on the bed. Her cheeks were sunken in, and she was sitting in an old-fashioned wheelchair. Her arms were thin as reeds. It looked like they would shatter from just the strain of hugging her stuffed animal. The bear looked pretty standard and was wearing a sailor uniform. Perhaps this was the game. Perhaps I had to reunite the dress with the bear. I explored the room for the bear. It wasn't there. I checked the closet, under the bed, everywhere. I even checked under the mattress. It must have been in another room. I promised the dress I would bring her the bear. I don't know why, but I could almost feel a presence coming from the dress. It felt very faint. I would say it was just my imagination, but everything else hadn't been so far. Why would this? I began opening doors and searching for the bear. I saw a game room, a small library, a toilet, none of which contained what I was looking for. Thank you for watching. Subscribe and follow my other socials.